Overnight success typically masks years of invisible work. Billie Eilish's case involved one night actually serving as a turning point, but that single night rested on everything preceding it. A childhood in a neighborhood rougher than the public image suggested. Dance career ended by injury before ever starting. Brother who became the closest creative partner. Mother who taught songwriting before teenage years. The family treats music not as a pastime, but as the household's primary language. When Ocean Eyes appeared on SoundCloud in 2015 and spread overnight to an audience nobody in her circle anticipated, the response looked like luck externally. Internally, it represented the product of 13 years of music immersion, a specific injury closing one door and pushing through another, and brother collaboration developing quietly in a Highland Park bedroom for years before anyone outside the family heard a note. Her full legal name is Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell. Eilish is a middle name, the Gaelic version of Elizabeth. Pirate was originally intended as a first name until Uncle's objection occurred. Baird is Mother Maggie's maiden name. O'Connell is Father Patrick's surname. When public performance started, a shortened version, Billie Eilish, was an obvious choice. Billie matured in the Highland Park neighborhood in northeast Los Angeles. By name, widespread recognition, and time, the area had gentrified considerably. The version she describes from childhood was different. Hearing gunshots nearby while home wasn't unusual, and she consistently pushed back against the assumption that financial comfort and physical safety were given conditions. What the family possessed was music. Parents Maggie Baird and Patrick O'Connell are both working entertainers. Maggie is a songwriter and actress, and Patrick is an actor and musician. Neither was wealthy, but both brought music into the house as a constant. Daily singing happened, instruments were present, and songs were written and workshopped routinely. The family's living situation was compact. Billie stated bed sharing with both parents and brother Finneas until approximately 10 years old occurred, a product of available space and family closeness. Finneas O'Connell is 4 years older than Billie. He is, by every account given, life's most important creative relationship. Because both were homeschooled, more continuous time together than most siblings transpired. Music was a dominant, shared interest. Finneas began taking his own music seriously in his early teens, writing songs, learning production, and figuring out how to record properly in a bedroom without professional equipment. Billie watched and absorbed it. She stated she was always using him as a measuring stick, so his song standard became her standard. That internal benchmark, set early and held throughout, is a partial reason her output sounds considered rather than rushed. A collaborative dynamic is unusual in industry because industry involvement predates it entirely. The same house growth happened, identical instincts developed, and music making together started because it was the most natural thing available. Billie and Finneas were educated at home by parents. Curriculum Maggie and Patrick built was structured around practical application rather than textbooks. Math was taught through cooking, and most activities were hands-on. Billie stated homeschooling gave the ability to trust one's own work judgment and develop at one's own pace. Public school belief held that being taken seriously would have become harder. The conventional educational environments tend to work against teenagers whose thinking falls outside the standard track. She stated music can be made anywhere, in a bedroom, in a closet, or wherever tools and focus exist. That attitude came from house growth, where creation wasn't restricted to designated spaces or scheduled times. Billie's music relationship isn't something described as discovery. Life without it was never known. Parents sang, wrote songs, and played instruments. The house was sound-filled in a way making the music's absence feel like an aberrant condition. At 8 years old, children's choir joining occurred, where breath control, correct projection, note sustaining without voice damage, and blending while maintaining one's own pitch were learned. Father helped instrument learning. Piano and ukulele teaching occurred largely without formal instruction, picking up what was needed by ear. Mother Maggie's contribution was different. As a songwriter, Maggie taught Billie song building, how an idea becomes a verse, how a hook functions, what a bridge does structurally, and how to decide when a song is finished. Most teenage musicians spend years figuring this out through trial and error. Billie received a professional explanation before 11. By recording with Finneas the starting time, beginner status didn't exist. A teenager with years of genuine musical education behind them worked with a collaborator possessing the same background and more production experience. The gap between what they were making in that bedroom and what professional recording might sound like was already narrow before anyone outside the family heard a note. Before music became everything's center, Billie danced. This wasn't a casual hobby. Serious commitment pursued with career-making intention existed. Self-description as someone getting injured in ordinary circumstances happened. She once hurt her foot while sleeping. Applied to dance, where repetitive strain and physical risk are built into training, that tendency compounded. Injuries came frequently in various forms. Each recovery was followed by another setback. Eventually, the pattern made continuing at the wanted level impossible. With dancing no longer dominating the schedule, Billie was more available, working with Finneas on music. He had been developing production skills and was ready to involve her more seriously. Then, the dance instructor gave a specific assignment: write a song he could choreograph a routine to. Billie took the task seriously. She and Finneas worked on it in his bedroom, without professional equipment, the same way they had always made things. The song they produced was Ocean Eyes. It was a written, stirring dance routine. It ended up redirecting both their lives' trajectories. Billie uploaded Ocean Eyes to SoundCloud November 2015. She was 13. The upload wasn't a calculated release strategy. It was sharing the song with the dance instructor so choreography planning could occur. By the following morning, song had spread beyond anyone in her circle. Numbers were rising without a promotional push. Spotify became aware. Music blogs started covering. People were finding, listening, and sending to others. The song isn't a complex production. Billie's voice is over a restrained instrumental that Finneas built in his bedroom. What made it spread was writing quality and voice specificity. She was 13 and sounded like someone carefully thinking about language and emotion for years, because she had. Interscope Records signed her in 2016, and Ocean Eyes reached a far wider audience through official release. But song Starting Everything was a bedroom recording, made for a dance instructor, uploaded without expectation, and found by the internet on its own terms. Billie stated lying awake at night, afraid of never making it as a performer occurred, a specific fear of spending life wanting to make music and never finding an audience for it. That fear dissolved the morning after Ocean Eyes went up. What replaced proved more complicated than anticipated. Period of denial about how much change transpired, trying to live normally and finding she couldn't. People recognized her everywhere. Anonymity loss happened faster than adjustment time existed. One specific loss involved live music. Before being known, Billie pushed to the crowd's front and treated shows as physical experiences. She stated barrier jumping at a show featuring Lil Wayne and Tyler the Creator to get closer to the stage happened. Once becoming recognizable, that stopped being an option. Her presence shifted the crowd's attention from the stage to her, which defeated the purpose entirely. What she valued as an audience member brought into her own performances. She gets close to people at shows, moves through space, and makes physical connections previously pursued from the other side. The fanbase responds to this with intensity consistently maintained throughout the career. Oversized clothing becoming the most discussed public image aspect wasn't accidental. Billie has been direct about dressing reasoning. Wearing clothes obscuring body shape reduces the surface area available for appearance commentary. She knows that different dressing would shift a significant public discourse portion from music to the body. Complete effectiveness hasn't occurred. People made unkind comments regardless. Fans respond to those comments with fierce consistency. Billie's own response is more measured. She stated finding it interesting, observing how others perceive her, that version being judged as necessarily elite, and that she is the only person with full picture access. Alternative appearances known. At her success level, teams could be hired managing every presentation aspect. Consistent declining to work that way occurred. Music released is music written and recorded with Finneas. Operation scale has changed since bedroom recordings. The underlying operating principle has not. Billie was raised vegetarian from birth. In 2014, at 12, a fully vegan diet extension occurred, framing decisions around environmental concerns rather than personal health. Indian cuisine is a particular favorite, especially tofu-based dishes. Burritos are named the most consistent indulgence. Before music and before dance, horse riding and elaborate costume making for herself and friends occurred. Friends describe her as bossy. She accepts this, framing it not as a corrected flaw, but as an early version of directness shaping her career now, knowing what she wants and insisting on it, rather than deferring to other people's preferences. Dave Grohl stated publicly that his daughter introduced him to Billie's music, and that audience connection reminds him of what Nirvana meant to the previous generation, a performer speaking directly to people feeling unheard everywhere else. That observation has been consistent since morning, when ocean eyes went up and numbers started rising in the Highland Park bedroom. If this examination of how one 13-year-old's bedroom recording transformed into a cultural phenomenon inspired you, share it with someone who needs to understand that overnight success usually hides years of preparation. Hit that like button if you believe Billie Eilish exemplifies authentic artistic vision maintained against industry pressure. Subscribe for more stories about artists whose success stories began in unexpected places. Comment below sharing which aspect of Billie's journey most resonated with you.